Mend with me. Hi, my name's Lauren. I teach visible mending, and today we're going to re-mend this back pocket because obviously the t-shirt didn't hold up for the wallet, and we have some new tears coming along. So you can pause for the supplies you'll need. Not pictured as an iron. And today I'm not using a tailor's ham. I'm going to use a rolled up towel, show you how you can substitute that if you don't have that sewing tool. A new tool we're going to use are pinking shears. These aren't absolutely necessary, but if you don't want to finish the raw edge of woven materials, these are a great tool to have. The sawtooth blade creates a zigzag edge that makes the threads shorter. You're not having large woven pieces of frayed thread come out. You can Google it. They're very useful, but not necessary. Today I am using fusible adhesive. I don't normally like to use these because I feel that it adds more glue and things for the needles to pass through, but in this situation it really felt like it would be a helpful tool, so we're going to go ahead and use it. I used the rolled up washcloth and put it in the pocket so I could work with only one layer of fabric, and I'm cutting away all the frayed threads. There are several holes. I'm not going to undo the stitching on the previous mend. We're just going to mend right through all of that. To use fusible adhesive, you want to protect your surface because this will go everywhere. Essentially, you are going to spray this on the side that you want to adhere to your fabric. For me, I sprayed it on the right side of my pocket because I want the right side facing out. It did take a little finessing, but once you get your patch in, you want to make sure that everywhere is nice and flat and that it is in place, because once you hit it with the iron, you are essentially gluing it to the back side of your fabric. You can use a piece of fabric or a towel to protect your iron from the glue and just protect your clothing as well. If you want to press firmly, you make sure everything's nice and tacked down. As always, I like to use my scrap jar for my basting threads. And I am still going to tack this patch in place because it's on the pocket. I feel like there's going to be a lot of manipulation of the fabric, and I'm going to be grabbing things and flipping it back and forth. So I just want to make sure none of the edges lift. I used what's called basting stitch for this, and that is essentially just a very loose, wide stitch that is meant to snip away later. It's not permanent, it can be quick and easy. I chose to use a thin embroidery floss to tack down the edges of all the tears. Although they are glued down and I am using a pattern that has a bunch of stitches, I wanted to make sure that all the tears were just in fact tacked down so they didn't get caught later on. Now I am not folding under the edges of the tears. There's going to be some fraying thread that you can see, and it might unravel a little later on down the line, but I'm not too worried about it. The reason I chose not to tuck under the edges is because once you start doing that, these holes get bigger and bigger and bigger, and when they're small, it's just hard to keep all the edges tucked under. They come out anyways, so I usually just let it live the way it is. Now I didn't need to use the entire pattern, so I cut just the size that I needed. You'll peel it from its backing and place it on top of your mend. And from this point, you really just start embroidering the pattern that you want. So this is my 10 cross star pattern. This is a stick and stitch wash away self-adhesive embroidery pattern. This kind of sashiko embroidery runs off of a 1/4 inch grid. So how I chose to draw this pattern when I was developing it was I decided to make all the crosses a dark color. But I wanted to add the diagonal guides in there as well if you wanted to embroider a star pattern. But I didn't want it to get too messy or get too hard to see. And I really wanted to give you the option. You can do crosses, you can do X's, you can do like what I've done here is I embroidered the negative space in between each cross. So I used the diagonal line as a guide, and I ran my needle in and out, not touching the points of the X's and keeping my stitch in the space in between the X's. I embroidered in one diagonal direction and then in the other. As I was getting towards the end, I noticed that some of the lines had faded a little bit. It will happen from time to time, and you can trace the lines directly on top of the pattern. You do want to make sure that you are using a fabric pen or pencil. A regular pencil will work, a colored pencil will work. You just want to make sure that it washes away. If it will bleed through this pattern and stain your clothing, then that's what is going to happen once the pattern washes away. I had not embroidered this kind of pattern before, and I really enjoyed it. And you can see from the inside, it is the star pattern. I really like this one. I feel like the fabric is very secure to the pocket. This is where he puts his wallet, so it goes in and out all the time. I feel like this is not going to cause him any issues, and it won't break through again. Another pocket saved. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you on the next.